Hello, guys, welcome back to Deep Talk Podcast. If this is your first time here, this is a podcast where we talk about depression, mental health, without trying to offer solutions. We just talk about the things that I think about daily. And on this channel, also, we like to take stories and share stories from listeners and subscribers. So, if that's something you would like to do, you can send your stories in to our email at deeptalkpodcastng@gmail.com. It will also be in the description below. And also, I'm very sorry my voice sounds very husky today. I don't know why. I just have this weird feeling in my voice today. And also, very sorry about missing our upload on Monday. I couldn't make any upload because I didn't have time to record. Like I said, this is not a scripted or a planned podcast. This is just random thoughts. So I just pick up my phone and I record whenever I have random thoughts in my head, and I couldn't find time to do that for Monday, so we'll be dropping the next day. It's going to be for tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So I hope as you listen you learn something or you understand something better. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and also drop a comment in this video, and let's get started. And today I'd like to talk about something that is very unique to me and very peculiar to myself, and it's a statement that I hear mostly in my head. It's do it, you hate yourself already. It sounds very weird, but it's something that pushes me to do things I don't want to do. Like I said, I think in the first or second episode, I can't really remember again, I was talking about how I dabbled into a lot of things, businesses and stuff, and making calls and all those stuffs. And that's as a result of this voice in my head where I don't want to do something, but you just hate to it, you hate yourself already. So I believe that it's something that a lot of us have. It might not be exactly the way I hear mine. You might not hear yours word for word the way I hear mine, but I believe there is this factor that pushes you to do things, especially when you are in a depressed state and you don't like the way you feel and you hate everything about yourself and you hate everything about everything around you. You hear this voice, especially when you have something to do. And it's always the second voice, it's not the first one. I say the second voice in the sense that if you are in a depressed mood, like if I use myself as an example and I want to do something, the first thought would be I don't want to do anything. I'm just tired. I just want to lie down here. I just want to stay here. I don't want to do anything. I just want to remain by myself. That's always the first voice, that voice that pushes you to just abandon everything and procrastinate it till a later time. Especially when it has to do with work, when it's not something that is fun or when it's not something that is personal that you can choose to delegate. When it's work that you have to do it, it's a responsibility, or it's going to affect your work or you get fired or something. It's always that voice that tells you can do it at a later time, but at the same time there will be this other voice that comes, and I believe it's different for a lot of people, but for me, in my own situation, it comes like, do it, you hate yourself already. So at that point, I don't want to do that. So me doing that means I hate what I'm doing, and I probably hate myself for doing it at that moment. But that voice comes and like, do it, you hate yourself already. So it's like a motivation in disguise, and I'd like to talk about it because I believe a lot of people experience this, but they might not look at it in the light of motivation, where the situation around them is pushing them to a point where they don't want to do something, but there's this other voice at the back of their mind that's telling them to maybe do it. And they might look at it like, if you're not careful, it's the voice that once it says, like for me, I want to say something like, do it, you hate yourself already. It's an avenue for you to begin to think, or for me to begin to think about how much I hate myself and I hate the situation around me and I hate the things I'm feeling. And I just fall into the rabbit hole of thinking about everything I hate and feeling worse about myself, and I get nothing done. It's very easy to fall into that rabbit hole, but at the same time, if you can use that as a motivation to do what you have to do, you'll discover you do more. And that's in the light of, I don't know about other people, but for myself, once I'm in a depressive mode, or I'm in a depressive, and I feel like I hate everything about me and I hate everything going on around me, if something makes me feel good, I feel guilty about it. So there's this feeling of guilt, or feeling of discomfort, or feeling of something like, I'll say somewhat like, I don't like this feeling, I'm not supposed to feel like this. So once something makes me feel good, I always feel that guilt come up. So once I'm in, my work has to do a lot with cold calling clients and potential clients, and cold calling is something that people blow you off a lot if you are very familiar with it. If you're very familiar with it, you will know that a lot of people will just cut you off before you say something. They just tell you I'm not interested, or the way they will even approach you will make you feel some kind of way about yourself, especially when you are feeling down. But I've noticed that on days when I'm in those depressive mood or depressive episodes, probably it's just me, when I make those calls, I usually tend to call some of the nicest people, the people who will be very friendly, who will be very encouraging and welcoming. And it feels wrong, and it's like, okay, this is not supposed to be this way, but okay, maybe I can do more. So it's like I am trying to feed that guilt now. So where you are still looking at it like, okay, I'm not supposed to feel this, I'm feeling bad. Why is this going this way? And then you just keep on doing it, and you keep on doing it, and you keep on doing it. It's just the same way for people who just continuously stay at things that hurt them, or look at things that hurt them, or listen to things that hurt them because they feel bad about themselves and don't want to keep feeling bad. So it's the same principle in this, where you can say, okay, this is making me feel good and I want to feel bad about myself at this point. So what do? I just keep doing it, and I'm feeling good and I feel guilty about it. So the guilt keeps increasing, and eventually I don't just have a choice but to keep feeling guilty and to keep calling. So it's like a motivation to do things when you don't want to do it. So I believe it's a form of motivation that people actually overlook. And also, if you listen to my first episode, I think, where I was talking about if suicide was actually the easy way out, you will discover I made mention of the fact that it takes a level of motivation to actually commit suicide, or to get depressed to a point where you want to hurt yourself or harm yourself. So I believe that it also ties back to this, in the sense that motivation, I heard someone say that depression is unused motivation. And I might not know how true that is, but I can say to a point that yes, there's a level of motivation to it, because on a normal day when you're in a good mood and when everything goes fine, that's for myself though, I find it hard to think some things that I think when I'm in my depressive mood. Like, some of the thoughts I have are different. When I'm in those depressive mode, I can listen to some kind of songs, I can say some kind of things about myself. I don't want to be here anymore, I want to die, I'm just tired of everything. But once those mood leaves, or those periods where I'm not in those mood, I find it very hard to say those things. So I discovered that there's a level of motivation that comes with that mood, where you just don't want to do anything, and you feel everything is bad and you hate everything going on. But at the same time, there's a motivation that's pushing you to do something and you don't understand. So this is going to be a very short episode, actually, because I don't know, I'm having a pain in my throat. I'm talking this long. I guess probably it's also the reason why my voice sounds like this. But what I'm just trying to get at is that once you are in that depressive mode or depressive episode, that's actually the time to do those things you want to do. I'm not trying to motivate anyone. This is not a motivation, but I just believe that sometimes, as much as you hate the way things are going around you, you also like to see some things go well. You like to see some things go in a very positive way. People around you might not understand. People around you might not give you the support that you need. People around you might not show you the love that you want them to show you. But at that point, you can do something that will make yourself happy. So it's more like, for example, this YouTube channel. I've wanted to start it for a very long time, but I just don't have the motivation to do it. I hate everything. I don't like people hearing my voice. I don't like people knowing who I am, which is also why this is a very anonymous channel. I hate the sound of my voice. I don't like listening to myself. But at one of those moments, I just got fed up with everything, and I thought, well, fuck it, I just do it. And I just started. And now that I've started, there is this motivation to continue. And it's not even as a result of the people listening, because at the point of recording this video, I think my past 3 videos or 4 videos has not gotten any views, but it's like an outlet where I can vent and say the things going on in my head. And I'll say, since I started this channel, I've been in a better mood. Things have been different in a kind of way. It's not like I've gotten better or I don't get depressed or everything has gotten perfect. No, but I discovered that I can process my thoughts better. I talk more. I've always had this issue articulating my thoughts and saying them out. I have a lot of things going on in my head, but once I want to say it out, I don't find the words to say, to use. You could have noticed even during this podcast, I do jumble my words together, and it looks like I probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I do have those ideas in my head and I have the perfect conversation in my head, but once it's time to say it out, it becomes a problem. And so since I started this, I've discovered that I have developed that aspect, and it's easier for me to communicate some things that I have in my head. And as much as I enjoy the depressive episode, which might sound very weird to say, I can also say I feel good about the fact that I can also communicate better. I can say things that is on my mind, and I can communicate with people and they understand me clearly without me getting things messed up and getting them confused. So that's as a result of me taking a step and just following that voice that just said to do it. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are someone like me who gets this voice, that second voice, when one tells you to just procrastinate and abandon everything, and that voice tells you to just do it, you might as well try it. You might as well try to do those things. And our advice, you go with the things that scare you the most. It's like a way of, if it doesn't work out, you'll be like, well, I knew it won't work out and it won't really hurt you. And if it works out, it's like a win-win situation. You're like, oh, okay, that's fine. So those things that we feel are impossible, those things that we feel cannot be achieved, those things that we feel that probably is something that we will never get to or will never achieve in our lives, those are the things that once you have those kind of thoughts, you just do them. You can start little though. You start from a little where it's beginning to sound like I'm motivating people. I don't know. Of recent, I've been feeling, since I started this channel, like I said, I've been feeling different in a kind of way, and I discovered that when I begin to talk, it always goes in the direction of as though I'm motivating or trying to encourage people to be better. And there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. I just don't want people to feel like this is a place where we force people to be better and try to make them feel like if you're not better, something is wrong with you. This is not the place. And I'm saying that because I used to be that person where if you try to give me advice or try to encourage me, I will most likely pull away from you. I will most likely go away from your environment because it makes me feel like I don't know what I'm doing or I don't really know how to explain it. So I just wanted to create a safe space where people who just don't need that advice or who don't need direction or whatever can just come and listen. But at the same time, I'm believing that as much as I enjoy those moments, I enjoy them and I hate them at the same time. It's very hard to explain. I enjoy them because once I'm not in those mood and I'm in a very happy mood for too long, I go back to search for those feelings of sadness or whatever. So it's more like when I'm in a very happy mood, it feels off for me. So I always go back and search for those sad and depressive mood, look for things that will take me back to that mood. But I don't like it either. So it's like a place where I enjoy staying, but I don't enjoy staying. I don't know how that sounds. So if there are people like that, I believe that there are some things you can also do where you can be at that spot where you hate it, but you love being there. And also you can also do some other things for yourself. So when you hear that voice, just do it anyway. You hate yourself, you can just do it. Whatever it is you want to do, the ideas you have in your head, the things you want to start. Because I believe that because of once you are in depressive moods and depressive episodes and you are not crying, you're just quiet or you're just thinking about things, most times you think to a point where you begin to get ideas. You think to a point where you begin to see things differently, where you begin to want to do things for whether yourself or for people, you might want to do things to alleviate pain of other people so they don't get to the point that you are at. Now, those are ideas, those are suggestions, those are things that if you actually start, they might be something that might change your life or change the life of someone and create an impact that might be global. So if you allow the feeling of the moment to rob you of starting, because after you get out of those moods, those thoughts only come when you're in those moods, because it is being powered by the sadness you feel. It is being powered by the emotions you have at the moment. So once those emotions die down, the motivation to do those things will leave also with it. So it's like the ideas that come when you're in your depressive episode, or when you're in your depressed mood, is an idea that come as a result of what you are feeling. So the moment you stop feeling that thing, it leaves. The motivation to do that leaves. The idea begins to sound weird and begins to sound absurd when you listen to it or when you try to talk about it. But the thing is this: as much as the idea might sound absurd, because you are feeling that at that moment and that idea came to you, it means anyone who is feeling that same way at any point in time, as once they hear that idea, once that idea comes to them, it makes sense to them. So it might be an idea to start something, start a talk channel like this one. When I thought about it, when after I started the channel, I started, I was like, what am I even doing? Because who will listen to a channel that just talks about depression? There's no help. We're not offering help. We're not offering motivation. It's just bland. And funny enough, the numbers is beginning to look like it also, because no one's actually watching it. But at the same time, I'm beginning to see that as much as it might not help other people, me talking about these things is actually helping me myself, because I'm seeing myself develop and I'm seeing myself becoming developed and becoming better, even at the things I do with work, with my relationship with people. I'm beginning to see myself that things are getting easier. So once you are in those depressive moods or episode, some ideas might come to you, some ideas might drop in your mind, but when those ideas come, you can write them down. The best time to start is at that point, because once those moods go down, it is very hard for you to implement what you thought about, because it won't make sense again. It's like that's how it is in my own situation, though I don't know, it might be different for other people. So that's just my thoughts for today. It's very short, it's random, but I don't know, probably because I've been quite busy of late though, but also since I started the channel, I've been having less and less time to think about things, and probably I'm healing myself doing this, but I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. But I really appreciate you listening to this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also comment. Drop your comments, and if you'd like to share your stories also, you can send them to deeptalkpodcastng@gmail.com. It's also be linked in the description, and I really appreciate you listening to today's episode. Take care of yourself. Until next week. Bye.